Welcome to Storytime with Nanny, and today I have picked out some of my favorite books that I either read to my children and or they were they go back maybe to when I was little. Um, the first one I want to start with is Our Lovely World, and it is written by Flora Gillis. That's Gilliss. And this was probably my favorite of the books I read to my children. A crow up on the highest limb found something that was puzzling him. This world, he said, is a lovely place. And then he puckered up his face. I wonder, said the wise old crow, who made this world, I'd like to know. Look all around and you will see how lovely is each bird and tree. How glad and free the flowers in spring. How gay the calf that's frolicking. He put one foot up to his head and thought, and then he said, I'll ask the birds and bees and flowers, the sun, the moon, and April showers. If they don't know, I'll ask the trees, and then the wind, the hills and seas. Who made you, sun and moon and stars, your twinkle and your silver bars? North Star replied, we give you light. God made us to cheer the night. The moon then reached his fingers down and made the shadows a fairy town. The lazy sun was dressed for bed. He winked one sleepy eye and said, I light the world and make things grow, but then I wouldn't brag, oh no, for I am here because God wills. And then he dropped behind the hills. Who made you, tell me, stately pines, and you low-hanging berry vines? Who made the trees that give us fruit, the brook that's singing like a lute? Who made you shark and whale and bass, who through the waters swiftly pass? And you, O sea and shining sand? They answered, it was God's own hand. Who made you, hippopotamus, you tiger and rhinoceros, you lion, elephant, and ox, you beaver, and you clever fox? The lion answered with a roar, he made us, God, whom we all adore. God made me, chirped the buttercup, and me too, barked the frisky pup. Who made you hopping on our lawn, for days before the snow is gone? You robin, our most welcome guest, he flashed his lovely crimson breast. I'm here by God's divine decree. I sing because I'm glad and free. The raindrops had a merry chase. When Mr. Sun had hid his face, they jumped and ran and danced a jig and swung from every leaf and twig. Ho, ho, they called with a husky shout. God from his window tossed us out. The wind, who had been listening, began just then to shout and sing. Ooh-wee, 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 ooh-wee. God is the one who fashioned me. The crow was wiser now by far. He looked up at the morning star. Who made the world? Ah, now I see. God made the world and God made me. A super cute book, and what I get out of that is the story of creation, and God made everything and everyone, and he put us here to enjoy life and have fun and be sweet to one another. And we can learn from one another. The wise old crow learned from all that he went and met and talked to. This is one of my favorites, probably my top favorite when I was younger, and I read it to my kids as well. It's The Pokey Little Puppy, and it's written by Janet Sebring Lowry, and it's illustrated by Gustav Tengren. I think so you say that last name, T-E-N-G-G-R-E-N. 5 little puppies dug a hole under the fence and went for a walk in the wide, wide world. Through the meadow they went, down the road, over the bridge, across the green grass, and up the hill, one after the other. And when they got to the top of the hill, they counted themselves. 1, 2, 3, 4. One little puppy wasn't there. Now where in the world is that pokey little puppy? They wondered, for he certainly wasn't on top of the hill. He wasn't going down the other side. The only thing they could see going down was a fuzzy caterpillar. He wasn't coming up this side. The only thing they could see coming up was a quick green lizard. But when they looked down at the grassy place near the bottom of the hill, there he was, running round and round, his nose to the ground. "What is he doing?" the four little puppies asked one another, and down they went to see. Roly-poly, pell-mell, tumble-bumble, till they came to the green grass, and there they stopped short. "What in the world are you doing?" they asked. "I smell something," said the poky little puppy. Then the four little puppies began to sniff, and they smelled it too. "Rice pudding," they said, and home they went as fast as they could go, over the bridge, up the road, through the meadow, and under the fence, and there, sure enough, was dinner waiting for them with rice pudding for dessert. But their mother was greatly displeased. "So you're the little puppies who dig holes under fences," she said. "No rice pudding tonight." And she made them go straight to bed. But the poky little puppy came home after everyone was sound asleep. He ate up the rice pudding and crawled into bed as happy as a lark. The next morning someone had filled the hole and put up a sign. The sign said, "Don't ever dig holes under this fence." But the five little puppies dug a hole under the fence just the same, and went for a walk in the wide, wide world. Through the meadow they went, down the road, over the bridge, across the green grass, and up the hill, 2 and 2. And when they got to the top of the hill, they counted themselves. 1, 2, 3, 4. One little puppy wasn't there. Now where in the world is that poky little puppy, they wondered, for he certainly wasn't on top of the hill. He wasn't going down the other side. The only thing they could see going down was a big black spider. He wasn't coming up this side. The only thing they could see coming up was a brown hawk toad. But when they looked down at the grassy place near the bottom of the hill, there was the poky little puppy sitting still as a stone, with his head on one side and his ears cocked up. "What is he doing?" the four little puppies asked one another, and down they went to see. Roly-poly, pell-mell, tumble-bumble, till they came to the green grass, and there they stopped short. "I hear something," said the poky little puppy. The four little puppies listened, and they could hear it too. "Chocolate custard," they cried. "Someone is spooning it into our bowls." And home they went as fast as they could go, over the bridge, up the road, through the meadow, and under the fence. And there, sure enough, was dinner waiting for them with chocolate custard for dessert. But their mother was greatly displeased. "So you're the little puppies who will dig holes under fences," she said. "No chocolate custard tonight," and she made them go straight to bed. But the poky little puppy came home after everyone else was sound asleep, and he ate up all the chocolate custard and crawled into bed as happy as a lark. The next morning someone had filled the hole and put up a sign. The sign said, "Don't ever, ever dig holes under this fence." But in spite of that, the five little puppies dug a hole under the fence and went for a walk in the wide, wide world. Through the meadow they went, down the road, over the bridge, across the green grass, and up the hill, 2 and 2. And when they got to the top of the hill, they counted themselves. 1, 2, 3, 4. One little puppy wasn't there. Now where in the world is that poky little puppy, they wondered, for he certainly wasn't on top of the hill. He wasn't going down the other side. The only thing they could see going down was a little grass snake. He wasn't coming up this side. The only thing they could see coming up was a big grasshopper. But when they looked down at the grassy place near the bottom of the hill, there he was, looking hard at something on the ground in front of him. "What is he doing?" the four little puppies asked one another, and down they went to see. Roly-poly, pell-mell, tumble-bumble, till they came to the green grass, and there they stopped short. "What in the world are you doing?" they asked. "I see something," said the poky little puppy. The four little puppies looked, and they could see it too. It was a ripe red strawberry growing there in the grass. "Strawberry shortcake," they cried. And home they went as fast as they could go, over the bridge, up the road, through the meadow, and under the fence, and there, sure enough, was dinner waiting for them with strawberry shortcake for dessert. But their mother said, "So you're the little puppies who dug that hole under the fence. Again? No strawberry shortcake for supper tonight." and she made them go straight to bed. But the four little puppies waited till they thought she was asleep, and then they slipped out and filled up the hole. When they turned around, there was their mother watching them. "What good little puppies," she said. "Come have some strawberry shortcake." And this time, when the pokey little puppy got home, he had to squeeze in through a wide place in the fence, and there were his four brothers and sisters, licking the last crumbs from their saucer. "Dear me," said his mother, "what a pity you're so pokey. Now the strawberry shortcake is all gone." So Pokey Little Puppy had to go to bed without a single bite of shortcake, and he felt very sorry for himself. And the next morning, someone had put up a sign that read, "No desserts ever unless puppies never dig holes under this fence again." Besides being a cute book, I guess what I got out of that is it's fun to have an adventure, but we need to have our parents' permission to make sure it's something safe and that we don't get in trouble and we get rewarded in life when we're good. This is one of many books that our good sweet neighbor, when my kids were little, she walked over books to us, and she was a retired school teacher then, still a very sweet lady, Betty Luzier, and it's called "I Am a Bunny," and this one's written by Ole Rissom. That's first name O-L-E, last name R-I-S-O-M, and it's illustrated by Richard Scarry. I am a bunny. My name is Nicholas. I live in a hollow tree. In the spring, I like to pick flowers. I chase the butterflies, and the butterflies chase me. In the summer, I like to lie in the sun and watch the birds. I like to watch the frogs in the pond. And when it rains, I keep dry under a toadstool. I blow the dandelion seeds into the air. In the fall, I like to watch the leaves falling from the trees. I watch the animals getting ready for the winter. And when winter comes, I watch the snow falling from the sky. Then I curl up in my hollow tree and dream about spring. And what I got out of this, it's just a cute book, but I also learned I need to try to be more like the bunny, enjoy all the seasons, not just spring and summer and like fall a little bit, but I need to try to enjoy wintertime more. Now, this book is one I've had since I was a little girl. It's The Big Tidy Up, and it's by Nora Smallridge, and it is illustrated by Les Gray. Jennifer knew as well as you that everything has its place, but she just didn't care a bit, so her room was a real disgrace. Her shoe was askew on the windowsill. Her scarf was under the bed. Her beautiful box to keep ribbons in was full of old junk instead. A very old worn-out lollipop was stuck to her bathrobe pocket, and her bureau drawer was plain to see had been struck by a super rocket. Jennifer's mother looked in one day, and her smiles all turned to gloom. She couldn't disguise her shocked surprise at the state of Jennifer's room. "Your new blue sweater is not the thing to try on the cat," she said. "And why is your doll on the closet floor? And what's that lump in your bed? You must like to live in a mess, I guess, with your things all every which way. So I won't touch your room with my mop and broom from now until Christmas Day. But we don't want people to see this room with your things all lying about." So on Jennifer's room, she quickly hung a very big sign, "Keep Out." Jennifer had a lovely time for 2 or 3 days or more. She set her hat on the ivy plant, and she hung her jeans on the floor. Her comb, 2 hankies, and 1 white glove fell under the bedside chair. So did her slip with a great big rip, and Jennifer just left them there. Under her pillow she kept some pie to eat when she woke at night, and a nice raw carrot or two to chew to give her an appetite. She did her homework in ink, I think, and she lay flat down on the bed. She got finger paint on the pillowcase and never turned down her spread. Then little by little things went wrong till Jenny was filled with gloom at the fusty, dusty, musty mess she had made of her nice pink room. The bed was prickly, the floor was strewn, the chairs were heaped up too. There wasn't one bit of room to sit unless she sat on a shoe. Up in the corner he liked it there, a spider was calmly spinning. He had only a tiny web so far, but of course he was just beginning. Jen never could find two socks that matched, not one of her shirts was clean. She looked at herself in the mirror once, and she wasn't fit to be seen. Where, oh where had her hairbrush gone? There wasn't a single sign. Her hair stuck out all over her head, so she looked like a porcupine. Poor Jennifer. Jen sat and thought with a worried frown. Perhaps I should run away. No one could live in a room like this from now until Christmas Day. But it wouldn't be fun to run and run, then to have to sleep in a stall or a spooky wood, though of course I could and not have a room at all. So Jennifer opened her window wide to let in some good fresh air. The spider gave her a nasty look and scuttled off who knows where. And then Jen picked up stuff, blew away fluff, shook out the mat, hung up her hat, swept the floor, tidied the drawer, made the bed, smoothed the spread, and worked for most of the day until every last thing was put away. Then, and at last, when her room was neat as a pin, she hung up a very big sign, "Come in." And that did motivate me to keep my room a little cleaner, even at that young age when I first heard the book. It just, you enjoy things more when they're kept clean, and you can find things easier to find things. This one is City Boy, Country Boy, and it is written by Miriam Schlein, Schlein. It's illustrated by Catherine Evans. One day, a little boy stood on top of a hill and looked all around. "I live in the country. I love the country," he said. Do you know who he was? He was a little country boy. "I am me, myself in the country," he said. "I run with my dog across the field. I shout, 'Hello, hello, hello.' And the country seems to echo back, 'Hello, little country boy.' I see new little baby rabbits in spring, and sometimes a skunk, or even a deer. I see the birds flying, chirping. They are mostly small, and they fly away fast. They don't know that I am their friend, but I am. I see the first wildflower peep from under the snow. The wind seems to push it just for fun. It waves to me on its stem. Then when summer is done, I watch the flower go. The stem cracks, bends over, gets brown and stiff, but that's all right, because I know the seed will live under the snow, and next spring I will see another flower grow from under the snow. In the summer, the sun shines down to me and smiles. I fish in the creek, I jump from stone to stone. Whoops, I slip sometimes, then I get wet. In winter, the snow stays white and soft. I walk on snowshoes I made. Swish, swish, through the soft white snow I go. The sky's big in the country. I see lots of stars. And summer and winter and all year long, the sky's my ceiling. The wind and the trees and the hills are my walls. The soft brown mud is the floor for me. The country is where I love to be. I live where I live. I love where I live. I'm the little boy from the country. That very same day, far away, another little boy stood up on a bridge and looked down on the city. I live where I live. I love where I live. The little boy said, "Do you know who he was?" He was a little city boy. It was the end of the day. It was getting dark. He saw the tugboats come back up the river. He saw the big tall buildings stick up in the sky with little white dots of light in their sides, and he watched the city shadows. This is and as he watched the city shadows, this is what he said. I see the ships come up the river. Where do they come from? Where will they go? I stand and watch, and I never know. I walk on the dock. I see the steam doors loading and unloading the boats. Hoisting, pushing, they are very strong men. I walk through the market early in the morning. All kinds of cars and trucks are there, with piles of grapefruit, stacks of lettuce, wet and green and fresh. I go to the lumber yard. The wood smells sweet. Little filings are on the ground and pieces of yellow resin from the wood. I pick up the resin. Do you know what it is? It is what they put on violin strings to make the music sound soft and clear. I go to the airport and see the planes. Burr, burr, warm up the motors. Burr, burr, roll down the field. Burr, burr, down the runway. Go up in the air and fly away, high in the clouds, over the land and sea. Underneath the streets go the rumbling trains. I stand in the very first car and make believe I am steering the train. I watch the men building a building. They dig a hole in the ground. They pour the cement. They lay the bricks. They put in the pipes. Don't you wish you could help the men build the building? Sometimes I go to the museum. I see the skeletons of dinosaurs that lived a million years ago. I see suits of armor that knights used to wear, and spears and arrowheads of Indians, and stuffed animals that almost look alive. But the nicest thing about the city is all the wonderful people. They come from all over the world, from every land, living together, working together, giving each other a helping hand. The men with bushy mustaches, ladies with big purple hats, the butcher, the baker, the postman, the cop, all live in the city. And I live there too. I know they are all so nice. That's nice. Things come from all over the world to my city. Things go to all over the world from my city. I think my city is the middle of the world. Don't you think so too? I live where I live. I love where I live. I'm the little boy from the city. Here is the little country boy. He is visiting the city now, and he likes it too, don't you? Here is the little city boy. He is visiting the country now, and he likes that too, don't you? And what I got out of that book is it's there's the city, there's the country, and I got to live in what was considered a city growing up, I guess. It's really considered a town, a small city. But I got to visit my grandparents, which is where I am now, in the country. And I liked both places. And so we all come from different places, and there's different things about us and different things that we enjoy doing, but we can all be friends and get along and be sweet. Except never talk to strangers. And you may have possibly heard some of the animals that have showed up down here have been cats, have been dogs. I'd like to show them to you one day. But I know the pig and goat, they travel together. They're friends, and they decided they were going to live here. So you may have heard them while I was reading, but I'll show you Wilma and Pepper one day as well. So I hope you enjoyed Storytime with Nanny, and I will see you next time. Y'all have a great, blessed day.